Hello, people of the world that are watching internet videos that have to do with cars. Welcome to this. My 1974 RA21 Toyota Celica ST, which will soon house its sealed for freshness 2UZ Toyota Tundra V8. If you're new or you missed out on the previous video where I was working on this thing, I was in the process of assembly. This morning I threw the trunk lid back on this thing, so now you can see it with its satin clear coat, which subsequently almost looks like zinc plating because it's got that green flop with a red pearl to it. This robot contraption right here is the original heater core, which may pose a bit of a challenge considering I slightly modified the firewall down here. Before I can get started on that task, plastique. Oh, sound deadening, I forgot about this. Now that the car is on the ground, I can address what I was tackling in the previous video by seeing if the carpet and the panel will still fit down in this corner, so that way I can plan for the welds. Can I still get the plastic in? Yeah, the plastic should be still fine. Alright, that's back in place. There's quite a few circuits that I don't necessarily need in the engine bay and that tight corridor behind the back of the intake manifold. Especially power circuits when they're running really close to shielded circuits for the cam and crank trigger as well as the VVTi circuit. So I got to thinking about it, and it didn't really make much sense to have these wires in the engine bay since they power up the fuse box under the dash. Here's the white power wire, and the red power wire should be right here. Being that the battery is located in the trunk and the power wire travels up the side of the car right here, and then came out of these two holes only to pass behind the engine and go right back into another hole under the dash. And I'm pretty sure I don't need my boat license to understand that that doesn't make much sense. Neither did what I just said. This faced up into the dash. It also means that I don't need two weatherproof fuses in the engine bay anymore. I can do some circuit breakers up under the dash here. This has to rotate down and face the front. Alright, I think that's about where this thing went. I think it sat like right up in there. This little robotic inchworm is a heater core pipe. I think it was this one. No, there's no way it's the lower one. I don't know what I did with the other heater core pipe. It's just a little guy that just barely protrudes from the firewall. But ideally I need this to go. The easiest way I'm going to make this work is to essentially do what the factory did, but with my own heater core pipes that come up out of the firewall. These are the heater core pipes on the back of the engine. Those two that come out of the firewall are situated right about here. Done. Perfect. Sold. Ordered 2 of them. Small business out of Nevada. Alright, now that that is situated, latch. Aha. This guy, I think, went like that. Brand new lock gasket to make sure that it seals nicely. Aha. Yeah, key works. I never took this off, but then again, this is new rubber weather stripping. Sweet! I got to align the panel gaps so they're equal and then mount my wing, but yeah, that works. Getting to the point where there's no reason for the interior to be tore apart on this car. Tilt it this way. There we go. Hey, that's pretty neat. Nippon Denso. It's got the old Toyota logo. This is a device used to artificially inseminate robot cows. And it would be highly smooth-brained of me to not at least test this heater core, even though I can't buy a new one for this, before installing it back in the dash. Fill this thing full of water. I am going to do a MIG-shift hydrostatic test. No, this is not distilled water. I'm gonna dump it right out. It's fine. I wanna make sure this thing does not leak. How do I don't have 5 hands. How do I do this? I wanna go roughly 1 or 2 PSI higher than the radiator cap is rated for. This is damn near impossible to do with just one person. Alright. Oh no! I continued to fiddle with this for another 30 minutes before I finally broke down and went next door to ask someone to hold it for me. This is really not easy to try to do with my hands by myself. Alright, I took it next door and tested it, and it tested good. What I'm not gonna do though is stick this back under the dash all disgusting and dirty. I have something I want to show you guys I've been working on for about a year now. This is my very own car detailing product company, RoboBubble. Big shout out to Karen who did all the artwork for it. This is my own personal product line of car detailing products. All the chemicals are made here in the USA. So now I'm not giving away free advertising to giant corporations when I use their products in videos And if you guys want to support this channel, you now have a way that's more than just a t-shirt. It's an actual product. This is a small product launch. I may have more that I'll add later in the future, but for now, here you go. The last thing I want is to smell geriatric robot fart when I turn the heat on. So I gotta scrub this. This stuff doesn't leave a nasty, slimy gloss finish to it, so it'll look OE, hence why it's called OE Clean. And it foams. It'll create a lather. I figured since I'm constantly talking about robots in these videos that I would give them a bit of their own spotlight and name a company after them. This thing's held into the snap ring. Ouch. There you go. Oh, gross. Is it reverse thread? No, it's right thread. See all this brown liquid? That's what would have ended up in your nostrils had I not done this. Well, not you specifically, but you get what I'm saying. It doesn't smell like old dust anymore. It looks clean. Look at that. Oh, the spotless. The gasket is still mint on this. I'm gonna leave it. It's just as thick as the new stuff, but this is wider. It's the following day. I let this trunk stay shut overnight to see if it would squish the rubber down. Probably gonna take quite a few nights for that. Hey, that was a lot easier than it was the first time. This is how much of a nerd I am. I'm gonna try to make this look brand new again with a little bit of my ungreased. Now this is not available yet. It will be coming later if I see a high enough demand for it. Yeah, that'll do. The original plastic, just like I did on the other side. Last time I did this on the other side, it was a pain. So out of everything on this entire project, taking the engine from a Toyota Tundra and the wiring from a 1985 Celica and mismatching it all together to make it work in a 74 Celica, that was easy in comparison to reinstalling the door lock cylinders. What I accidentally did was install the passenger side door lock cylinder on the driver's side. And while you might say, yeah, the door lock is the same, it doesn't matter which side it's installed on. What does matter is the little clevis, the fulcrum that moves when you actuate the rod. It can only go on one way, but you can install it incorrectly and not know until it's all assembled. There's the lock cylinder and you can see the fulcrum is facing out towards the latch. And if you notice my little clevis, you can see this is the side that was facing away from the lock cylinder. The problem is with this fulcrum facing the wrong direction, it then pulls the rod ever so slightly further out. So when you go to lock the door, it still has no problem getting it locked. However, because it's a little bit further out, it's unable to fully actuate to unlock the door. I found out the hard way by locking it with the key and only trying to find out that I couldn't unlock the door again until I held up with the handle and pushed the unlock button at the same time and shimmied it. So I need to swap this thing around. It's facing the inside of the door. It's backwards, that's why. Got a magnet just in case. Talk about absolute nightmare. Haha, see? The fulcrum was facing the inside of the door. So, this now goes this side. I'm gonna stuff a rag inside the door so I don't lose the clip like I did last time. It literally took me over an hour with a magnet trying to fish that thing out of there until I finally got it out. Yeah, I got it. That was so easy. This time around, yes, it works. Lock it. Unlock. Good. All right. And that's how you finish the last 20% of a project car, one small nightmare at a time. This is a brand new door lens. Ta-da! So much better. When I bought the car, this one was smashed. So, I would say if it was stainless, I could actually polish it, but sweet. I don't know if that bulb is, oh, it looks like the bulb's good. We'll find out one way or another. There, like new again. Ouch, I think it's on. Locked, unlocked. All right, now I got working doors. Wires for the door light. The next time I go to start this engine, I want this interior to be back together as well. An hour later that I didn't even record, now I have the wire where I need it. This stuff's messy. Stick this exactly where the old stuff was. In case you missed out on the past videos or you're wondering, this is actually the original plastic moisture barrier that was installed on this store when the car was new 50 years ago. See if I can repair this. This stuff sets up super fast. I don't want to rip this carpet up like you're eating spaghetti, so I'm making a mess of my soldering iron. Now this thing. There you go. Brand new, old stock, genuine Toyota weather strip. Yeah. Look, I know in the grand scheme of things, this might not seem like it was very important to be doing right now, and I need to get the engine back in, but I need to do this type of stuff in conjunction with that type of stuff, so that way the whole car is finished at the same time. That goes like that. And then this pushes over it. I'm really glad the interior of this car was in such good shape when I bought it and I was able to reuse all of it, because this fabric is a color that I don't think you could find anymore. It's like the color of avocado skin. Complete. Passenger side door is good to go. Solid. So I found the original throttle pedal for this car, and this right here is the Lexus LS430 throttle pedal. You can see the Celica original pedal has a shape at the top which does not compute with the shape on the Lexus pedal. That's going to be an interesting conundrum. If you have any suggestions for that one, please feel free to comment below. Well, my stereo wiring might be a little bit in the way. You know what's also in the way is all those little croquettes on the carpet I'm laying in. You obviously should have saw that one coming. This is 1/4 inch Cupronical hardline. Sometimes I'm good at shapes and other times not so much. So I gotta do the fitting first. I think it's this size fitting. I want it to come out and go back. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I haven't bent anything yet. I got an absolute perfect flare, so I'm really hoping I don't screw up the bending process. Like right there. Good thing I got a spool of 25 feet of this in case I screw up inevitably. That's tight. Not quite Tuco Salamanca tight, but Tony the Tiger tight. I don't even know what that means. Oh my god, that is so good. That is so perfect. Go like right along there. Something like that, and then it'll flow down into this corridor. Cakes and Pies. What movie's that from? So nerve-wracking working inside this engine bay now that it's finished painted, because I don't want to accidentally scratch stuff. That's why I waited to paint after I got the car to run. That's a weird sound. To the bender I go. I wish I had a robot bender that would do all my bending of lines and such for me. Really trying hard not to screw this up because this stuff is expensive. Alright, it's a little bit further back than I wanted, but it'll work.
Let a Toyota Celica GT drive away your trouble.
Another day, it's the same Sarah. I almost walked into that. Somewhere in here is a package. This is it. Several videos ago, I went through the painstaking process of redoing all of the hard line for the fuel return and feed on this car in the exact path of the original line. And I don't love it. This is just sloppy and messy looking. I know it's the way it was done OE, but I don't love it. Oh, that's gonna be full of fuel still. I forgot I put fuel in the tank to be able to start this. This area right here, which I still need to do all the rubber undercoating on once I make my heat shield, is where the quarter for the clutch line and brake lines and fuel lines will all pass up by. So I thought about this, I weighed my pros and cons. Each way has its own pros and cons, but I believe this is the best method to do it. This is gonna be a lot cleaner. Stainless braided fuel line, -6. I'll have to replace this a little more often, but honestly with this flopping around and potentially chafing and rubbing, this is gonna be a mess and I ended up replacing it anyway. It's not like this is a beater Honda Civic that I'm gonna put like 400,000 miles on driving to work and back. It's okay. The beauty of these fittings is that I can reuse them. Just even pull it off. It's on there. Ouch! Ow, that's my knuckles on the camera. I've been having a bad week. It's just, jeez! What a knot! I'm gonna have a huge bruise on my knuckle. That's insane! Sometimes I'm so stupid it hurts. Wear my dry ice blasting gloves. These things are thick. I can get way better grip now. Alright, add a little bit of assembly lube. They actually have special wrenches for doing this that don't scratch your A&N fittings. And I really wish I had some, but it's too late for that now since I've already done all the A&N fittings for the entire car. That should be good right there. The beauty of this now is that I will have one continuous line going from the fuel filter directly into the pressure regulator. There will be no union down here for potential leaks. That's perfect. Now I can go like that. I'm not gonna leave it there, but that is pretty sweet. Just like that. Fuel is going to go all over the place. This is inevitable. Oh, I'm sure without a doubt there's a smarter way to do this. But I don't want to get fuel on my hair tie. Geez, that is some really yellow fuel. Good thing I'm draining this. Measure once, cut once. Pull it tight as hell. Okay. This stuff is also super expensive, so I just barely have enough to do this job. That's straight enough to work. Come on, you furry fuck. That's it, it's in all the way. Okay, that's what he said. If you're wondering why I chose silver rather than black, well, I just personally thought it would look more period correct. This will all fit the original routing still. Fuel filter can go back up to where it was. Braided line. Through into that. Now what I don't want is the stainless line for the feed and return rubbing against each other, because that will cause that to fray over time. So there's gonna have to be some separation between the two. Once I get my heat shield in place, I'm gonna shorten this line up just a hair up front. I left a little bit of extra so I can know exactly how it's gonna go when I have the little isolators in place. So something like that, with the exception I will have some separators moving the lines apart from one another in the car so they don't rub or chafe on anything. I could have easily just made an entire video about the fact that I started my own company of car detailing products, but I like making enjoyable content for you guys about cars, not commercials. That's why I don't consider myself an influencer and why I don't have major sponsors on this channel, because it's not about that, it's about building cool stuff. So if you want to know more about these products, I'll implement them organically into my videos as I naturally clean things. And the link to my website down below where it has full descriptions on all the products. Please keep in mind, it is a tiny company. I am the owner, and Karen is doing all the logistics and distribution and managing the website and doing all the correspondence with all of you. And I'm doing all the work on these cars and the filming and the editing all on top of that. So to say I'm overwhelmed is an understatement. My mission objective for the next video is to get the engine back into this car as soon as I make the heat shield for those lines. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon with another. Bye.